Commissioner Schindel.
Here.
Commissioner Duke.
Here.
Carol Sweezy with the County Clerk's Office.
Here.
Please stand and join us in opening prayer and stand with the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, we ask for your guidance today as we make decisions for the county, that we may make the best decisions. We ask that you be with our troops wherever they be, and that you be with us in the traffic and the road, and all the activity we've got going on in Karnes County. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on the agenda is citizens to be heard.
Okay. Caroline Korzekna.
Good morning. First of all, I'm here speaking on my own behalf. I'm not representing any group or anything. I'm just here on my own behalf. And as most of you know, I speak my mind, whether you want to hear it or not. I'm in my 7th term as an elected official. It's been 25 years now. And it's always been my understanding that we're expected to stay within our budgets. And if we spend more than $400 at any time, that we're supposed to come to Commissioner's Court and get approval, even though it may be in our budgets. And I'm just wondering, has that changed, or am I just sticking with an old rule? My issue is when the offices on the square opened back in October of 2011. There was an office made specifically to accommodate the county attorney and the county judge. But at that time, both Mr. Busselman and Judge Shaw chose to move to this building instead. I believe back then they were calling that building the Kindle Building. We know why. Now, only about 15 months later, and only 2 years into your first term, you're requesting another move. Why? Why now? You didn't want to move to that building before. What's changed? Yes, the first move was absolutely necessary because of the bats from the county courthouse to here. Was this move included in your budget? It's only January 31st. We only have 4 months into that budget. It's definitely not qualified for an emergency amendment to the budget. Has pen been put to paper when it was put on the agenda? Is there an amount that it's going to cost to be approved to move, or is just, I want to move, yes or no? There's going to be a lot of moving expenses. The movers, since Road and Bridge can't be allowed to help anything but Road and Bridge. Phone lines, changes to letterhead, the jury cards, all sorts of paperwork is going to have to be changed for a temporary move. There was a cell phone expense that was paid so that your phone would work in this building. Is it going to work and move to the next building, or are we going to have that expense again? All of this furniture, the little podium that y'all are on, it was just moved not long ago. And are we going to have to move it again to the new location, and then once again when we move to the courthouse? Should the Agriculture Extension Office have to move now and then back again when the court office opens? What about their budget? There's no way they could have expected this. They are expected to uproot from an office that was specifically designed for them. Now, Mr. Hancock is just taking office.
Judge Revolver. I'm sorry, that's 3 minutes.
Okay. All I ask is,
Any other Susan?
Ms. Lozano.
I guess I can piggyback off of what Ms. Korzekna said, because I had actually 3 questions on my notes here. First of all, why? Second of all, was it budgeted? And what would the cost be? And lastly, I know there's another future move into the courthouse once the courthouse is finished, and I think she brought out the key comments related to what it cost to move here, the furniture, all that was an additional cost that didn't need to be borne. And of course, now, if we do make this move, we're talking about the same thing again. And I don't know how long it'll be before you have that 3rd move into the courthouse. So yeah, I totally agree with exactly what Ms. Korzekna said. Those are the points that I was going to make. On the second topic, the speed limit. I think Jeffrey has on the agenda about moving the speed limit to 30 miles an hour on the county roads. Well, yesterday I got on my county road and tried to drive 30 miles an hour. It's absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. My car's already falling apart from trying to drive 15, 20 miles an hour with the condition of the roads that we have. So I am totally against that 30 mile per hour increase in the speed limits. It doesn't really matter what speed limit it is. Those guys out there don't abide by it anyway. They run over the signs or rip them out of the side of the road. So in essence, there is no speed limit at this time, but to say that it's 30 is ridiculous.
Any more species?
Thank you, ma'am.
Number 6 on the item is acknowledgement of the San Antonio Food Bank, February 4th, 2013, at Rungy VFW Hall parking lot. They will be there Monday. Distribution will start at 10:30. The next item on the agenda is acknowledgement of SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loans available to Texas small businesses. I put that on there. Shelby and I got this through Emergency Management Coordination, and I'll give a copy to Carol. And what this is, it's just so you'll know that Karnes County has been declared in the emergency disaster area for U.S. Department of Agriculture and Small Business Loans. That's all that is. Okay? It's in your package if y'all want to read it. Shelby, will you pass that down, please? The next item on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove, move county attorney and staff from 115 North Market to 210 West Calvert on the square, and that's Mr. Hancock.
Your Honor, this is a request by the county attorney's office to move from the present location in this building this time to share an office space with the highway patrol in the building next to the courthouse in the, I believe it's sometimes referred to as the courthouse square. It's a request that we move the two secretaries and move my office over there on a permanent basis, primarily to be next to the county clerk's office where all of our records are kept, next to the adult probation department where all of our supervision on all the probation cases going. Next to the sheriff's office, it's the center of the county government at this time, and we would like to be in the middle of it if we can get there. That is our request. I'll answer any questions that I can as far as cost or any additional information that you need. I'll try to get that to you.
The space that you're planning to move to, there's enough area there that nobody's using right now?
Yes, sir. It's a, there are 3 offices that are not being used at this time. It's in an open area. It's not closed off. I don't much like a closed office anyway, so I prefer it be open. And there, the furniture, the telephones, the only thing we need to do is move the computers over, and some of the computers are being replaced, so we're the additional cost is about the same if we stay here or over there.
The computers are going to get replaced either way, right?
Yes.
So that's not an additional cost.
No, it's not.
And you're going to be, if this goes through, you're going to be housed with DPS offices?
Yes. And we'll share the space with them. They're not there much during the day in the hours that we're there. There are, it's not, they've got, each of them have got desks, and we're not sharing desk space at all.
Okay, so you met with them, it's not an inconvenience for them in any way?
Oh, yes. We've talked to their supervisors and also talked to the, I think I've talked to all of the troopers.
And
One of them is over at school who's going to be licensed in weight. I don't know his, I haven't asked him, but I would be surprised if he wants to throw me out.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be fine.
Do you have enough money in your budget to pay for this move?
Can I address that on this budget issue?
It don't, it's not going to cost you anything.
When we moved over here the first time, there wasn't a cost. What happened is, unless Luana has some kind of cost that she paid movers, because we didn't have any, we moved ourselves. Pete brought over his flatbed. We loaded all this stuff up. The only thing Road and Bridge moved was this thing right here. And there was 2 young men that came in and helped us move. There was not a cost at all to move, or the phone lines, or anything. So there might have been, I think Jeff was over here for 3 hours, and that was prior to we said that Jeff couldn't help us anymore, maybe 3. Jeff didn't move chairs, Jeff didn't do anything. Pete and I loaded those up on a flatbed. We also loaded Mr. Busselman's up on a flatbed. Pete and I were the paid movers, so that's the whole cost right there.
Well, even if there wasn't paid expenses for moving, there were still expenses for establishing the phone lines here. And even though the phone lines are established already in the offices on the square, AT&T is still going to charge us a fee to flip them from location to location, irregardless if it's a switch or if it's actual wiring done.
Well, that's going to cost to move anywhere, yeah. But it's not, it's no $400 cost, and nothing's going to exceed $400. We did it all ourselves. And Freeman's already come in and talked to us about that. We met with Freeman the other day.
There'll also be moves or charges with Jeff Ramos or whomever to establish the computers, connecting them to the server, et cetera, over there from here. Another thing, Mr. Hancock, I know you mentioned this would be a permanent move. I know DPS is currently short-staffed. Trooper Bailey was in the other day and said they expect to be hiring 2 more troopers, hopefully sometime in the future. Will that affect their space needs?
Do you want me to address this?
No. You can address us. Thank you.
I really apologize, Herb, but I would like you to address it toward me, because I would like to know. I mean, that's a good question, no offense or anything,
Okay.
but I mean.
Well, let me tell you why I'm saying that.
Okay, I'm sorry, Judge, or Herb, I'm sorry.
I want to sit down and go over this all with you, because Dante Montemor from Extension's been down here, we've been over at DPS, we've done everything, talking to people about why this is necessary. And I would like to talk to you about that, because we're moving court to like 6 times a month. And when we're over at the other building and we're trying to work and trying to get jury trials in and changing jury cards, now we're piggybacking off the district court, okay? So the jury cards are already being sent out to that building over there. We're actually saving a lot of postage. We're saving a lot of things. And the hub of county government is the justice system. Herb and I are running back and forth between these buildings trying to establish this court. And when we're over there, I mean, it's got it. We can't be in both places. It's not working. And in all due respect to Judge Kendall, I never called that building the county building. That's one thing I will say. But what we're trying to do is trying to get everything running smooth, get where the records are. We're dragging stuff back and forth. We're having court more than ever, and we're running people back and forth. When we come in and do probates, it is so inconvenient to the people that have to come over here and then go over there. If it's raining, they're coming in here once, they're getting out, they're going over there. And it's just, there's no other place in 254 counties in Texas where this is such an issue. But it's not costing anything. Actually, Pete and Shelby have both offered to bring flatbeds and move everything and take care of everything.
May I ask?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know this is with her right here, but this was going on for 2 years, right?
It's been horrible. It's a horrible way to work. It's an inconvenience to everybody involved because the justice system is usually in there. And Mr. Montemayor and I talked about, and I think JD and I talked about, is initially when they were moving into that building, I did go over there to that building and talk to them about us moving over there. And everybody was so claiming space. It was, well, this is mine, this is mine. With the counties, and the county's not running smooth. We're not running smooth by being way over here and being away from the stuff that we do. All the files that the clerk's office houses are stuff that we have to use all the time. And so we're running all the citizens back and forth. We're running everybody back and forth. And Mr. Montemayor was here. JD's been here. Nobody's been left out of the loop on this move. DPS has been involved, and the 3 offices that are going to be affected are going to be DPS, mine, Herb's, 4, and agriculture's, and everybody's fine by it.
I've spoken with all of them. Herb to start with and requested, he told me that he thought he could operate the justice system in the county better by being over in that building. He felt it was necessary to be there. Didn't want to have to go back and forth like Barbara told me then. And I talked to JD. JD said, well, he'll do whatever's necessary. It didn't make him any difference. I talked with him further, and I talked with Eva Smith here. Him being here, they feel like everything can be worked out, that there won't be any problems. quite a bit there. I talked to DPS to start with and asked them, and then Herb talked with them, and they came to an agreement. And they seem to, everyone seems to think that it can work out.
Well, what I'm gonna say right here, I know it's not regarding 8, it's regarding 9, but Pete regarded 9 right now by talking about the ag extension, and you regarded number 9 that we're not on. I'm talking about ag extension, so I think I have the
You're
right
fine.
to jump
Go
up, okay? Before I get shut down,
I'm not gonna shut you
okay, we've both been talking about number 9.
We're with you.
All right, a lot of times when you talk to the people from the offices, they may not tell us 5 here exactly the way they feel or how they want things, because we manage their budgets, we manage where they stay, but they'll talk to other people about the true feelings of what's going on and everything. And that's what, maybe because I get along with everyone, I talk with everyone, I talk not just with the person I'm gonna talk with, I talk with the people they're associated with. And there's just things that can't be said in court here because other people get upset, people get mad and everything, but I don't really think from what I've been investigating that everyone's happy about the move. The citizens aren't. They're not really about Herb's move, it's not really an issue, it's more about the judge's move because ag extension has to be kicked out, moved somewhere else when they're already set in place. That's the main issue that I've been hearing from all the people. It's not really about Herb, nobody's really complaining. It's mainly about the judge because ag has to get moved, the judge has to get moved over there, and then I don't know where ag's gonna be moved in a year and a half, 2 years, hopefully when the courthouse is ready. So there's a lot of moves if we move the judge. With Herb, it's one move and we're done. But that's, like I said, I'm sorry, just
No, you're fine.
not everyone would tell us, Pete, and I know that you've been here for years, not everyone's gonna come straight up and say, hey, Pete, I don't like this, man, because it's, you know what I mean, it's 5 of us here. Not everyone, a lot of people feel like, well, they're the ones that control the budget, they control where we're at. Not that I would do that, I personally wouldn't hold no vendetta against anybody, and anybody can tell me anything. I think, been here long enough for y'all to know that y'all tell me the next day I'm the same person, but not everybody's the same. Some people may hold a vendetta and try to be vindictive to them, and people know that already. And
Oops. Where you going, Shelby?
No place.
Sheriff, call 911.
That's usually my turn.
I am 911.
I know.
But anyway, moving on.
That's all.
Go
Thank you.
ahead, Shelby.
Thank you,
You
Judge.
know, I hear what you're saying, but I think, one, I'm looking at the center of county government. I mean, that building belongs to the people. It don't belong to any elected official that has any office is only there for the time that they're elected, that are voted out, and that's it. But I'm looking at and my whole thing is when I thought it was the stupidest move anybody ever made in the whole life was to move somebody when you had a room allocated for the judge and the county attorney. I thought that was a waste of time and money to move somebody out of that office and put them away from everybody else. You know, this whole county has had a problem, everybody getting along. And you know what, and when I got elected, the people I talked to said, if you do anything at all, try to find out or try to fix why people within county government cannot get along together. And I know you got different characters, different people from everywhere that just is like throwing a bunch of puppies in a box and got one bone, everybody wants that bone. Well, my thing is this, county government is just, you know, we're here to serve the people, and we can streamline the services for the people, put them in one place, that's what we should do. And later on, there's going to be another issue on this agenda that's going to, I think, that created a little controversy when it first started, but I think we're going to be able to take care of those needs as if we decide to make this move. But county government needs to be continuity of everything together so we can all take care of everything in one place. It just makes more sense. You got the county clerk there, you got the district clerk there, you got the judge's district court there, you got the sheriff's office there. We got everything, we have courthouse security, everything will be in one spot. And that's just my feeling, you know. But you know what I'm saying is everybody wants to be accountable. I want to be accountable for my office. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, let's be accountable to the people. That building belongs to the people. Now I'm a pro believer for agricultural extension. We might be able to still work something out for them later on. But eventually, somewhere down the line, when this courthouse gets restored, we have to decide who's going to be moving into that other building.
we can take everybody who's in that building and put them back where they were? I don't know. That's down the road, but. All right, that's.
Thank you, Sheriff.
No, we're not gonna address anybody, it's a 3-minute thing. We're all gonna follow the rules. Sheriff, we're all gonna follow the rules. Go ahead, Pete.
For something you asked, timeline on courthouse restoration, that's at least 4 years down the road. Before we move back into courthouse, I'd say 4 years before anyone moves into the courthouse. So we have to do things before then. We have to function before then.
Exactly.
I'll make a motion that we allow county attorney and staff to move from 115 North Market to 210 West of Calvert Avenue on the square. I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. Number 9 on the agenda is discuss approve
We gotta
disapprove.
be excused.
No. Oh, yeah, stay here. I'm sorry, I thought you were gonna leave. Number 9 is discuss approve, disapprove moving the county judge and staff for future commissioners court meetings, probate court, county court, and juvenile court from 115 West Market to 210 West Calvert on the square. And I do want to point out something. When Mr. Montemayor came to see me, Mr. Montemayor and I had a conversation, I think, September, what is this year?
2015.
2011, when we were all getting ready to move over there, and Pete was with me, and I told him that we wanted to move over there, and Meredith got really, really, really upset, and some other things kept going on, and I said, you know what, I don't have time to fight this battle right now. It was not on the top of my list, it was not a priority. But as much as Mr. Hancock and I are going to be having court, it is a priority to be with the records and to be able to do stuff, and I'm just asking to move over there to keep a continuity and a functionality of government. And Pete and Shelby have both offered to come move us with flatbeds. It's not going to cost the county movers or anything else. Didn't cost us the first time to move over.
There won't be lots of furniture moving. We're not move big desks, it's just gonna be moving the papers from here. Because the desks are already in there. I feel like we can do it.
Again, I'll go back to the costs associated with the phones and the computers. Those aren't budgeted costs. We don't have fluff in the budget. Are you going to amend the budget, and on what conditions? It's not an emergency. And another concern that I have, I know it's been an issue before, of commingling the children, potential juvenile offenders, and
That she could have talked to citizens to be heard. That's her opinion. Okay. So we're gonna stay with this, and what the deal is, it's gonna be the same issue to move Mr. Hancock as it is to move me. It's the exact same thing, the exact same.
but it involves money, and that's
Mr.
part of my.
Hancock's will involve money too, and we will take care of that here.
And on this, I asked that, and I wasn't answered on the cost.
We're just trying to get over there so I can have court. What we're doing is when we were having court, we had a 50-person docket yesterday. Is that what it was, Mr. Hancock? We're over there all day. And so when I come back over here, I actually have emails that y'all need to have in here that I didn't have time to come back and print. Because I'm working between the two buildings, which is extremely inconvenient. And continuity of government, having us all over there, it would be able to work just fine. The files that I need to use are housed in Carol's office, so I'm asking y'all to be able to move over there.
Judge, with all due respect, the main question that I had were, you were given an opportunity 2 years ago to move that building, and I think you answered that. You said that they didn't, or what did you say a while ago?
Meredith got really upset, and I've talked to Mr. Montemayor. JD might remember this, and I really don't want to go live in the past, okay? And it was a question of, but I want to be in here. This is where I want to be. And she got very, very upset.
That's what you said.
No, Mr. Montemayor. And so, everybody was in there that day, and I said, we could hold court in here, and we had talked about flipping some offices, and everybody got really emotional about it. And that was the only reason that I even agreed to move over here. And Pete remembers it. He was with me. And he was with me when we talked to Mr. Montemayor. And we were just trying to keep everybody a feeling level down. But right now, I can't do that. We have a backlog of cases. We're trying to get all this done, and we need to be where our files are. And I'm just asking for continuity to be able to work.
So you originally wanted to move into it?
Yes. And JD was with me. JD was there that day. Pete was there. Had numerous conversations with Ms. You were there.
I was there.
You remember it? and
I remember
the
that
motions were
Meredith,
there?
in the end of the conversation, said she would move into adult probation so you could have that space. That was the
No, I
final
don't,
word.
I don't think it was adult probation. They needed that space. They wanted a suite or something. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, we need to have where our files are and where everything else is. So that's all I'm asking.
I know the main issue was like, when Herb is gonna move, nobody has to move out, but the only problem I have and people have are ag extension's gonna move out.
But we had worked that out. Eventually, JD wants his old home back. And we had worked that out to where we're having an elevator to put in that room to do that.
Yeah, we budgeted 100,000, I think.
I don't remember. We have it all. We've got all the forms.
65?
We've been reviewing it, but like I said, it's not fair to people to have to come over here, then go over there. Everything's a two-train process.
Could I ask just, where's JD going now?
He can move into special projects if that's necessary, because we're moving into this other building over here.
Well, there's not enough room in that area over there for extension.
Well, let me ask you something. So are we on the topic, what are we talking about now? We're talking about getting you moved first?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, well, the question I've got is the next question.
Okay.
Next item.
Will you, what's number 9? Okay.
Well, the question involves also, she moves, someone else moves out, so it's all regarding the same question in my book. It's not, we can just move her, but it's like if we say, I'm gonna move James to this office and I'm just gonna kick out Tito or something, you know, it
No,
has
we're not
involvement
moving
of his.
I talked to
No,
Mr.
but I'm just trying to
I
get a
talked
point
JD
straight to
and Mr.
Shelby
Mark-
that
yes, but-
it does involve
Right.
JD, because if it involves you and removing someone from their building or their space, then it involves him, and we're okay with talking.
I just had a brain thought. Why, if anything, why not move JD to the new building where he was gonna move? The old Dr. Day's building. Is that, in that way, that could be a permanent building for them? Whenever the elevator gets up and running, special projects can go upstairs where they have more room with their maps and stuff like that.
Did we discuss that at one time, Judge?
I don't,
think-
I
don't remember exactly,
I don't
Shelby,
remember.
but
I'm just
I think that when discussed, and for whatever reason, we're the way we are. I can't remember,
I'm
Shelby.
just asking, I'm just trying to, you know.
Yes, sir.
It solves something that Luana said, it solves something, some other concerns that I have. The kids are, I don't think are ever here, but nevertheless, it'd be away from everything like that. As long as I've been in this county, extension service has always been away from everything anyway, so that's just a thought. Looks like cool brain, maybe that's wrong.
Thank you.
we can, go ahead.
You're suggesting move JD into that building, along with the others,
No. I'm saying just make that the extension service building. I just now thought of it. Make that the total extension service building so they'd have a permanent home. And then upstairs could be whenever the elevator comes in, you could take all the plotters and everything, go upstairs and have that up there for them. I just thought. Tracy doesn't, I didn't talk to Tracy. I just thought about it.
Well, we got so much stuff that needs to be spread out, and they got to move over there. They ain't got no room at all where we are.
I know.
And they want to move me over there functionally. Let's do number 9. We gonna do it? All right, I know the county judge needs to be over there in that building, forecourt. Working with the county attorney. Okay, so get the doctor here.
Can we please quit talking in the back? I can't hear. Go ahead, Pete.
Anyway, they need to work together and need to be together, so I think they should be moved over there. I'll make a motion. Move the county judge and staff from this building over to the annex building at 10 West Calvert Avenue. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I'm gonna close that.
Okay. That's going to, motion carries 4-0 with James opposed. Number 10 is to discuss, approve, disapprove moving Karnes County Agriculture Extension Office and staff to 115 North Market. Now, I know that JD, we talked to Johnny and I've talked to you. I did talk to Neva because I did have a question. Somebody brought up about the juveniles or something. Because we haven't seen them since November. And I don't know where Neva is, but she says they're keeping them longer in Wilson County. They came in one day. So if it becomes a commingling factor, and you have to remember too, let's not label these children. These are children from our school. They come to us for 90 days and usually go right back to the school. We've got really good kids that maybe made a bad decision a time or two. They're not bad kids. So if you guys want to move over here, or if you want to take some time to think about it, because I know you have stock show coming up, and I'm not going to move you during the San Antonio stock show, or they're not going to move you. We're going to try to get stuff packed up and flatbedded over there. You know, if there's something else you would like to look at, but the kids haven't been here. Like I said, I don't know where they are, but since about November they've been missing.
Well, I've looked into how it affects our youth protection standards, and as long as the kids are supervised, we're okay on that.
That's what
And we
Mr.
don't-
Montemayor told me. He said in other places, in other counties, they are housed in the same. And it would have been that way in the other building too. So we can approve the move over here. And if you decide to do something different, if you'll let me know, we can change it before, I mean, we have another meeting on,
What if we just take no action until that next meeting and make this final decision?
well,
See what he finds out where he wants to do. I think we should take action
I think we should already get him a home.
prepare to do it.
And like I said, they
What do you
haven't
want,
been,
JD?
We can always put it on the agenda to if this doesn't work, to move it somewhere else, correct?
yes, sir.
That's fine.
All right.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve moving Karnes County Extension Office and staff 115 North Market.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 5-0. Number 11 is to discuss, approve, disapprove, transferring, utilizing the full-time payroll position budgeted for the 115 North Market at the proposed rate of $16.51 an hour, the salary of $34,342.80 a year to the offices on the square for a full-time district, county, OAG, juvenile, TDC, and other as-needed security bailiff warrant officer. And Mr. Hancock and I put that on there. Mr. Hancock, you want to start?
Yes, this is a request to expand the job description of a bailiff's position that was created last year to work in this particular building. It's a request to expand the bailiff to security, basically for the courthouse part. All of the courts that work in the court system for Karnes County. I don't have any specific comments other than it is an effort to expand the job description of the person that funds are already available and are budgeted. It's just an expansion of job description.
And I don't, Sheriff, did you talk to the sheriff?
I did.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
Were you okay?
Yes, I'm fine,
Michelle?
Yes, we met and I'm fine to work with them and we can use them, you know.
Well,
for-
and what it is now, if you look at the court calendar over there,
Yes, ma'am.
with Mr. Hancock's assistance, he went and he filled in all those dates that were vacant for him and I. And so we'll be pretty much having court over there a lot. So we're either gonna be taking somebody from you or utilizing the full-time bailiff. And if you're okay by that,
I'm fine.
I mean, we don't wanna, you know, I know that you're,
And I'll just have to change his status from reserve to his license to full-time.
okay.
It's also a request that if this bailiff position has additional time on hand, that he assist in serving warrants with the sheriff's office out of the county court, specifically warrants on checks and warrants on other.
I make a motion to approve transferring, utilizing the full-time bailiff position budget for the 115 North Market. Proposed rate of $16.51 an hour, $34,342.80 a year to the offices of the square and the full-time district court, OAG, juvenile, TD, CJ, and other needed courthouse security bailiff warrant officers. I second.
All in favor, say aye.
I'm sorry, do you have anybody in mind for this position?
That's left up to the judge. I don't know who the My recommendation, if I had a recommendation from Mr. Tito,
Yeah,
that would be my
That's mine.
recommendation.
that'd be my recommendation too.
I mean, that's actually who we have in mind, if that's.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay,
Mr.
great.
Bedari. He's
I
been
didn't-
doing it for, I mean, actually, since Mr. Hancock's come along, and we've been doing it for it, Mr. Bedari is, he's back there.
Yeah, he's back. I think.
Art's a big guy, he
That's
can't
what
sit around.
I was referring to a while ago as a no-brainer.
Okay, yeah, I think he does an excellent job.
Well, that would be my recommendation, but that's not on the, his part.
I
And
understand.
it's not a decision that has to be made by the court, it's something I'll take care of afterwards, but that would be my, if you're asking me who I,
Yes,
yes,
okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
I was okay with that.
Are you okay by that I said that? I'm sorry back there, I didn't see you, I don't want to talk about you without you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 5-0. Number 12 is a presentation by Lorraine Daly on the project contingency recap for the courthouse phase 1 project. Arthur Lorraine Daly.
Good morning. In your package, you should have a recap packet that I put together for you. As we've been going through the phase 1 courthouse restoration, I've come before you numerous times and asked you for approval on items that needed to be taken care of, and I've been giving you a project contingency recap as we go. But now that we are at the end of that phase 1, and we're looking to go ahead and spend the rest of the funds that are available on that matching grant before we move into the foundation repairs, we put together a detailed analysis to make sure that we are within our budgets in any additional work that is authorized. Luana was kind enough to put together a recap of all the monies that she had allocated that had been spent prior to me coming out, and that's in the back. And so I've merged those documents together to put a recap together here. The first lines show back in March 23rd of 2010, the actual grant is the $926,829. The construction contract and professional fees were estimated at the $780, and then $53,289 with a project contingency estimated at $92,760. So that's where you started back in 2010. From there I went back, I've documented the actual cost. So we still start with the same grant amount of the $926,829. I have MJ Boyle's actual construction contract as it is as of December 2012 of $792,844. The Fisher Heck or professional fees, the architect professional fees, as of October 19th, his last billing was $64,440, and his remaining fee is $1,515. He will have some more reimbursements, and those will be determined. We won't know what those are till he bills us for those. They should be minimal though, leaving our contingency balance of $68,029. The items listed after that are the items that have been approved by the court for the paint analysis, the roof repairs, etc. Drawing our contingency balance down to amounting to $25,981, leaving our contingency balance at $42,000. And the Graham Loon, the items below this are items that either have not been approved by the Historical Commission to be paid out of the grant funds, or items that are going to be modified based on what this final scope of work ends up being to use up the rest of this money. Originally, we were not looking at doing all of the asbestos abatement, and we were going to do more selective demolition. And so Graham Loon had given us, and the court had approved his fee of $16,500 to do that selective demolition and documents for that additional work. It ends up that the asbestos abatement to do the entire building is going to save us money to do it all at one time, everything that's known. And a better use of those funds, everybody believes, is to go ahead and get all the asbestos abatement done and lead-based paint abatement done at one time. And if that's the case, Graham Loon's fee is going to be reduced significantly. So that's why I left that $16,000 down in the bottom. We're meeting today at 1 o'clock to determine the exact scope with the Texas Historical Commission, the abatement specialist, as well as Mr. Loon. And once we know what his scope is, we'll get another number plugged in there and bring that back before the court. There's $5,419 that were expenses that were prior to my involvement. It's the second to the last page. I have those circled, and I just need to get with Luana and just ask her exactly what those are, and are those approved grant fund monies, or has the THC approved them, etc. But I left a placeholder for that $5,400 to be plugged in once we know if it all belongs here or if it's going to be out of the separate county fund. And then the owner's rep services, even though Ms. Fleming and Stan Graves, when they were down here, they said if there's contingency money left, they'll consider approving those when they denied them last time. When they were submitted by Luana, they denied them. And last time I was up at the THC in Austin 2 weeks ago, I asked Mark again, what's the status? And he said they're reviewing, he'll review it with Sharon and see what they determine. So whether or not they're going to allow that to be paid out of the grant funds is still to be determined. On the second page, we still have, it's a recap of the construction cost to date, and we still have $32,616 in our construction contingency. And so these are two different contingencies. One is the project contingency, was an overall contingency. The construction contingency was part of MJ Boyle's contract. The reason we have that left is, if you remember, when we realized that we were going to need to do foundation repairs, we asked the contractor for a credit back for all those things that were going to be finished items, that, carpet and plaster and the things that we were going to be putting in the building to help you move back in when you really weren't going to be able to move back in. So instead of spending that money on things that was going to be, not a good use of funds, we got a credit back for all of that, and that's what that $32,000 is. So if you add those two together, we have about $70,000 remaining to go ahead and use up before the end of the phase 1 project. And I wanted to make sure that we reviewed all of this and had that on the record, so that you can make the informed decisions on the next items that I have on the agenda about how to use these funds, which we're proposing to use them for.
I have one question.
Yes.
You said something about the foundation of the building.
Yes, sir.
Is it ever going to be
Yes.
good?
Well, it's going to have to be repaired.
After they fix it, it won't crack, it won't shift and all of this?
The proposed repairs will stabilize your foundation, and once it gets settled in and gets stabilized, then you will have a secure foundation that will be, like any other foundation that you have. Yes, sir. It's going to take, though, we have some minor cracks on the new west wall that's restored, and that's why the Texas Historical Commission is looking at this, providing that 50-50 matching emergency grant for you. Those documents are almost finished, and they've used a method that will minimize the impact on the restored west wall, but it's still going to be impacted slightly, and it's going to have to settle back in, and then it will be on a secure foundation to support the restoration. So,
Are you talking about the new cracks? That came up after the pictures of the new cracks?
Yeah, and we have them and they're documented.
But Lewis said he would be good for those, right?
He did say that he would stand behind them, so.
The line, the $70,000 you mentioned, is that historical commission monies that are left to be spent, or is that the split?
That is total. That's the 70,000 is the total to get to the 926. So it's our total to spend. Part of it's yours, and part of it's ours.
All right. So then, Lorraine, is that done for the recap?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's review the courthouse number 13. Review courthouse asbestos and lead paint survey and approve clean environments to prepare plans and specifications for the abatement.
Okay, so at the end of last year, the court approved Clean Environments to go and do the survey. And that survey, you should have a copy of the findings in your packet. And essentially they found, asbestos and lead-based paint. They surveyed the entire building, because the cost to do the entire building was only an extra like $200, because most of their cost is coming down and mobilizing, et cetera. So we said, don't just do the first floor, which was the mandatory to do the foundation repairs, get the whole building done. And that's what made us start thinking, well, let's abate the whole building also at the same time, everything that we can abate. So they surveyed the entire building, and they identified the asbestos and the lead-based paint, and they've come back with a proposed fee to go ahead and do their plans and specifications so that we can bid that work out. Now, we're estimating that to abate the entire building, we're looking at approximately a $45,000, $45,000 to $50,000 budget. So when you look at our contingency recap, you can see that it will pretty much, you know, if we have to apply this full $5,000, and then with Graham Loon's fee, and then once we know what the scope is, we'll have a fee to get you through the end of that portion of the work. Most of this $70,000 will pretty much be used up. There'll be a little bit of money left, and what we want to do is some selective demolition so that as they prepare the phase 2, which is the full restoration documents, there's still some unknowns there about the tower and how the tower, was there a balcony looking into the court, and there's some unknowns that these phase 2 documents can't be 100% complete without these unknowns being established. And so we're looking at, when we meet at 1 o'clock, coming up with a list of selective demolition items that will let whichever architect finishes these drawings go ahead and know what they need to know so that they can get the drawings complete. You don't want to go into phase 2 and have bid out documents with all these unknowns, and then we're going to be dealing with tons of change orders to deal with the unknowns. We want to find out what we can now. So there is some selective demolition that needs to be done, and what I expect is between the abatement and the selective demolition, the rest of the $70,000 will be used up. So what's on the agenda today is to go ahead and approve Clean Environments to prepare the plans and specifications and the oversight that needs to be done for this abatement. And their fees are the asbestos and lead-based abatement plans and specifications are $1,000. The air monitoring that is mandatory by law for during the construction is $725 a day, and the lead-based samples are going to be $60 a sample. So the estimate based on what they have in their report is going to be 12 days of sampling and 6 samples. And then there's reimbursable expenses and a pre-design meeting. So we're proposing to approve Clean Environments today to prepare these plans and specifications, and the associated required air monitoring by law for a not to exceed price of $15,000. If for some reason the contractor comes back with more days than we have in our not to exceed, then we'll have to come back to the court and say, okay, instead of 12 days, it's 24 days, and we'll have to approve additional funds. But we believe this not to exceed $15,000 will cover that and let them do the work that they need to do. And again, if something changes, I'll come back before you. The proposed schedule is actually going to work perfectly. If we can get them approved today to do this work, it's going to work perfectly with getting the foundation repair started as soon as the Texas Historical Commission meets on their next meeting and finalizes the actual final construction costs that will have been bid out. I included an asbestos and abatement schedule in your packet that shows that if we approve Clean Environments today on January 31st, they can have plans and specifications to the Texas Historical Commission by February 15th. And the Texas Historical Commission is going to need to do a review between the 15th and March 8th. And at the same time, we'll go ahead and be bidding out those plans so that we're saving time. So we're proposing receive plans on March 8th and be able to present to Commissioners Court on March 12th a recommendation to evaluate and select that contractor. The contractor is required to do a 2-week notification to the state, which takes us from March 15th to March 31st. We start the abatement on April 1st, and then we're estimating 30 days to complete all of the abatement and be ready May 1st to start the foundation repairs. And then somewhere in that timing, we'll be bidding out the foundation repairs prior to the Historical Commission next meeting, so we can bring to them our actual construction costs bid out and get their finalization on their 50-50 matching grant.
All right, this item doesn't,
Yeah, I think it is an action item, Pete. It
Says
says,
approved.
mhm,
On Gateway.
and approve clean environments.
Yeah, we need to get, that's the main item, to get Clean Environment started,
oh,
so they can have their plans and specs done by February 15th.
all right, and this motion has to be made to approve $15,000.
I propose to do a not to exceed $15,000, because that gives us, you know, if it goes over a day or two, I don't have to come back to court. It's $725 a day, period, and I'm gonna review you know, they're gonna bill based on actual cost, so.
But there's a disclaimer here. Can you go to that?
Let me see what you're, and it's your standard, essentially they're saying that, they're not gonna be responsible for, how do I say this? They're gonna perform their engineering according with professional standards for practice. And since they deal with asbestos, they are not gonna take responsibility if somebody comes back and says, I walked by the courthouse and.
A third party.
Yeah, as a third party. So, but they do the air monitoring during all of it, and they do it all according to the state. So they're essentially, it's their liability disclaimer, since they deal with asbestos. Somebody comes back and tries to sue everybody involved in the whole project. They
With the
have,
disclaimer, they're out.
well, they have to perform to the standards of their
Of course,
professional and the
of course.
state.
They
So
would sue.
that's essentially
Right.
what they're saying.
Right,
Yeah.
but if there's a third party that comes by, then they sue the county, with the disclaimer, they're out, or?
Well, they're in if they did not practice according to the
According,
professional
right.
standards. But as long as they did everything the state says, then, yeah, then they're saying we performed to our,
So it'd be
yeah.
a bogus suit, basically. Because if they're
It should
performing,
be.
yeah, if they're
Should be.
performing up to code, then.
If they've done everything they're supposed to do, then they've monitored the air and they've contained it, and so nothing should happen.
Okay.
We're ready for a motion?
Yes.
Item 13. I'll make a motion to approve Clean Environments to prepare plans and specifications for a courthouse abatement not to exceed $15,000. And allow the judge to.
I'll say,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries 5-0. Number 14 is to authorize Judge Shaw to execute contract with David and Spears Architects to provide architectural services for road and bridge and EMS building projects. That's Lorraine.
And I put together the standard form of agreement between owner and architect, and essentially I followed the same standard that we used for the jail project. This was approved, it was approved to select us to help you with these projects at the end of last year. So that we can get started on the project, we need to, get our contract executed and start meeting with Road and Bridge and EMS and start formulating a plan for how to approach these projects.
Where is it going to be located?
That's all we don't know yet. You're hiring me to help you determine that. So the plans is we execute the contract. We were selected last year, execute the contract, and the first thing we'll do is start sitting down and meeting with Road and Bridge and EMS and start formulating some different options that we'll brainstorm together and then come back to Commissioner's Court with some different options that we've put together based on the meetings and design reviews. And the first part of the contract is the standard AIA agreement, and it is it's formulated and based upon essentially the same contract that we have for the jail, just at a reduced scope because it's road and bridge and EMS, it'll be a smaller project.
So this is the same form that you use for the jail?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yes.
All right. Now, I do recall that in the jail contract, we figured a project of that size that we made some exceptions. Board members Jane and Tracy made some exceptions to the liability of the professional liability, $250,000 each. So these are not that large of projects. And in other words, on the jail project, we asked Lorraine to get additional insurance, but I don't think we need to on this.
Yeah, this is not a
Is that- y'all
Yeah,
understand?
so essentially, on page 3, we have our standard insurance clauses in there. On the jail contract, we increased those, and the county paid, you know, the additional cost for upping those liabilities, but, and insurance clauses. These are our typical, and on this size project, Commissioner Yarrow was saying that he felt it was acceptable to leave those at our standard insurance rates.
That's fine.
So you look at me, I didn't know if you're looking at me.
No, I agree with you.
You think it's all-
Yeah.
You guys think it's all right?
Motion, we approve the execute, Judge Shaw to execute contract with Danny and Spears, architects, provide architectural services for road and bridge and EMS projects. I say.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Lorraine, there was just 2, you just gave me 2, we didn't need 3, we just need 1 for us and 1 for you?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 15 is comments and concerns from Joseph Malloy family regarding problems, issues about proposed new jail slides, and that's Mr. Malloy. Good morning, Joe.
Morning. Most of you might remember about a year ago I came and talked about the fact that they want to put the proposed new jail on the property that was purchased by the county behind my home. Which was, by this governing body, decided it's still a good idea to put it back there. On January 14th, a group of construction workers, or in fact, what they are, they were the road and bridge people, went behind my home on that property, and they began to clear the land. And I walked back there at 9 o'clock in the morning and stood there and looked at people, and everybody kind of ignored me. But they were staying pretty far away from my land at that point in time. And they destroyed hundreds of trees back there with their big pieces of equipment, which is, you know, environmentally not the greatest thing you can think of for all the animals and wildlife in the area. But the next morning, they were back there and they started getting closer to my property. So I went and I stood back there for a while, and Mr. Yower and Mr. Riatrick, who were overseeing what was going on, came back and approached me, and I asked them what their intent was adjacent to my property. And Mr. Riatrick said, well, we're going to tear everything down right to your fence line. And I said, well, if you do that, you're going to damage my property if you do it right to the fence line. And he looked at me and gave me a little smile and said, well, that's our right. We can clear everything right to your fence line. And I said, but you're going to damage my property. And he just kept on, you know, he says, well, you don't know the law, Mr. Malloy. And finally, after 15 minutes of him and I discussing it, and him being so untactful, in my opinion, Mr. Yower said, Mr. Malloy, we're not going to do anything to your property. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go talk to Judge Shaw and see that we can have the architect come and talk with you, and we'll get involved in it. And we will make sure that, you know, we take your concerns into consideration. Okay, so then okay, I felt pretty good that, okay, they're gonna listen to me and how they're gonna affect my property. Later that day, I went to go walk my dog, and they were gone, and I decided to go and just, see what they did near my property. And lo and behold, I find out that a bulldozer wiped out 40 feet of my fence and took out 3 significantly good-sized trees that were on my property. So I then called Judge Shaw, and she said that she would have Mr. Gower and come and talk to me first thing in the morning. Well, the next morning they came and they was like all apologetic, and they fixed my fence. But throughout the day, Mr. Reatrick kept on telling me I didn't know anything about the law, and that they could clear right up to my fence line still. I need this body to know that how untactful and how disrespectful Mr. Reatrick was to my property, and how he's supposed to be a public servant, but he's not concerned about the public's property. He's only concerned about the task that he was put to him in accomplishing that task. Judge Shaw said that I could sit down and talk to the architect. Okay, and last week, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, I sat down with Judge Shaw and the architect and Mr. Gower, and before I came to the meeting, I had noticed that they had surveyors out and they were surveying all the property. And when I purchased the land, I had to have the property surveyed, and Mr. Pollock did the survey. And when he did the survey, he came to me during the survey, because I hung out with him when he did it, because it was a piece of property I'm buying and whatnot. And he pointed out to me that I had the only survey markers in the entire city block on my property. Okay? And before I came to the meeting last week, I went out and I looked, because I saw them doing all this. They tore out fence posts, and they dug around trees around one of the markers in the front of my house that's there. That's the only marker in the whole city block. And I realized it's gone. They took my survey markers that I have my survey, that Mr. Pollock went and looked at the public record, that he says have been referenced more than 2 other times. Other surveys were done, and they were never touched or moved then. I'm wondering why they're taking and trying to change the survey markers on my property of something that's on public record for at least 40 years. That's really concerning me. Okay? I need some kind of explanation for that one. Okay? Then, during that meeting, they also said there's a building adjacent to my property that is going to be necessary to tear down for them to continue to do their environmental study of the property behind my home, because evidently there's been some level of arsenic and salts detected. The largest tree in my property has a branch that touches the roof of that building. That tree, if it was disturbed, would fall on my house. I need to know how that's going to be dealt with, because they're not going to be able to tear down that building without doing something about the largest tree on my property. That needs to be, unless you guys want to let the guy work on the building and accidentally knock the tree over in my house by whatever means they're going to use. Because it's an old tree. The tree's well over 50 feet tall, and it's probably over 100 years old. So, and I don't know how long trees live around here. Because of all this, it spurred Mr. Reatrick saying that I don't know the law. I did a bunch of research, and I found at the Attorney General's website a summary of all the laws that cover property right owners in the state of Texas. And I found something that was really interesting, and I did some research on it, and discovered that if a federal or state agency or a county agency does anything to impact the value of my property or my freedoms of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that I can request an environmental and economic evaluation be done of the project and how it will affect my property and anybody else that lives in our area that feels that it's going to impact their economic or environment can ask for the same exact study to be done at the cost of the county. Okay, I did a little research and I found out that over the last few years you've noticed that there was an environmental economic survey done along the 281 corridor, mainly done associated with the exchange between 1604 and 281. The Bear County had to spend $10 million on that one. So if I don't get some kind of understanding on how they're going to, this project is going to impact my property, because I get the feeling that right now I have a nice little wall of shrubbery on my property line, and probably 2/3 of it is on the property that is designated for the courthouse. If I can't get some kind of satisfaction as to how it's going to be dealt with and the damage that's going to be done to my property, I'm gonna find out how to request that environmental and economic impact. And then the other thing is, since they tore everything down back there, the amount of wildlife that's moved into my yard is unbelievable. I don't think people understand how they're hurting all the animals back there. The largest building back there has a family of 5 vultures in it that live in the 3rd floor of that building. And do we just kill them? Like, if you go and you look, they're going to do something over in that new park area that run between 123 and that little pond up there that's kind of a waste of time, everybody's money with how much water waste. They cut down all the bushes and everything back there with some machine, and they never did anything to improve it to be part of the park. But, one of the most endangered species in Texas is a spotted owl. There used to be 3 of them that lived in those buildings back there. I don't know if they're still there or not. Because we'd hear them at night, and we went and looked on the internet and saw that they were spotted owls. And they need to be considered, I guess. But I would like some kind of written documentation that says what my rights are, or how you're going to treat my property when you're building this project behind my house. I guess that's all I have. I mean, it's been pretty disrespectful when they ripped down 40 feet of my fence after 30 minutes after talking about it for 30 minutes and then just walk away. Rip it down with a bulldozer. And then you take out the survey markers that are been there for over 50 years. It makes me think like somebody doesn't like the layout of my property, so they're going to try and readjust it because the driveway has to go between my house and the post office. And there isn't enough room or something. And so let's make the survey marker go away that was been there. That's the only one on the city block. It almost sounds like something weird is going on. That somebody's trying to manipulate things that sound a little bit illegal to me.
I know what is the layout of your property, not exactly, but I've been around your house a lot. Where exactly was that survey marker? Toward the front of the street? Toward Main Street? Are you saying?
Every single survey marker that outlined my property was there, and it's in documentation on the survey that I have.
Norman did that?
What?
Norman did that?
I have.
Mullick?
Yeah, he did it, and he said that all he did is look up public record and saw that there was 2 other surveys done before I had him do it, and all he did is relocate them and verify their location, which, if the survey markers are there, and it's made public record, you're not supposed to touch them.
And the survey marker that you say that got
Oh,
removed.
two of the survey markers are gone, I'm pretty sure. One of them I can't find at all. I used to be able to walk by, when Mr. Pollack was looking for him and doing the survey, I got over there and I helped him find him. He says, I know they're right here. He says, I can't find any. He walked up and down the block, walked around the block, he was trying to find a reference point.
Right.
And he goes, it says they're supposed to be one at the end of this fence line. And we cleared around the area and we exposed a pin that stuck out of the ground. And he goes, that's the pin. Those are the survey marker pin that was put here because it's described in the public record. And he used that as the reference points. And then we went and looked and we found 4 more of them that show the outline of the property. And these people came back and they were doing their survey, and they spent a week doing the survey. And while they were doing the survey, they knocked on my door and says, can we come into your backyard and measure your house? And we're going, you can survey the outside of my property all you want. Why do you need to come into my property and measure my house? I was like, what that, that sounds kind of funny. What? I mean, I'd like to know, did they have the right to remove the survey marker? And from I know, they didn't have the right. Then they came back, and they stood at that one spot with a survey tripod about 4 times over 3 weeks. And obviously, I walked out there, and I'm going, what are you guys doing here again? And he says, well, our only reference point is over 380 yards away. So I have a reference point, it's the only one that's there, that's in the public record, on my property, and they're trying to figure out where my corner of my property is by trying to shoot a line or something to another survey marker they know is a real point over 400 yards away. Why didn't they just use mine as the reference point, because it's in public record? And it's the only one that exists on the property, as far as Mr. Pollack was able to locate. And obviously, after I talked to them, they couldn't locate anything else either. The ones that outline the post office, somebody put them under concrete for a curb, evidently.
On the survey markers, is that what you're saying?
Mr. Pollack said the survey marker that outlines the property right next to our house, my home, while he was doing it, he goes, falls right in the middle of a curb. And there's no marker there. It's just, there's a concrete curb there where it would have been.
But what was on your property, it's a reference point.
My property had the only reference points on the entire city block, Mr. Pollack told me.
Usually they put it on the cross section, but yours had it on your property. A reference point to all the other.
My property had the only survey markers in the entire city block, from what I'm told. And they took mine out.
Mr. I know that surveyors normally don't remove any pins.
I'll walk you over there and show you where they were.
Yeah, I know you said that, and if I have time, I'll go with you after a while and look at it. But normally they don't remove pins.
They removed the pin. The pin is gone. I looked everywhere for
We'll
it.
check it out and we'll get the surveyors back there.
Well, okay, I don't trust that surveyor anymore. I'd like, okay, if somebody has to come back, I trust Mr. Pollack. Because he's the one that did the survey, and I don't know how long. I think he's been in business for over 30 years. And I know he used to have an office right here in Karnes City. That's where
Rick's running it now, but you can ask Rick. But I mean, Norman might, for something like this, Norman probably, come out, but Rick's the one who's doing it.
My question, the bottom line is, why did they take them out? And what gives them the right to remove them without consulting people that it affects? It's in the public record where they are, and from what I know, this property's been surveyed in the last 40 years 3 times. Okay, and he went back and looked in the public record and referenced them in his survey notes that he found them in the public record saying this is where they're supposed to be, and we went out and we found them, and they were there, and now they're taking them out of the ground. I mean, public record means that's in concrete, that's my property, where it's laid out, and they're trying to move my property. Doesn't that concern anybody?
No, I guess, yeah, just.
We wouldn't want it done to us.
Right, exactly,
Oh,
no, sir.
We would not want it done to us.
That's right, Pete said he's gonna take his time and go out there and take a look at it, and I would say maybe get a hold of Norman. If that did happen, right, try to get a hold of Norman himself. I think he would, he's a nice guy, I think he would come out.
Nice guy has nothing to do with people
No, I'm talking about
infringing
him,
on,
actually.
trying to change
He's retired.
the location of your property to meet their needs of what they're trying to accomplish. To me, it sounds like something illegal has almost occurred here.
I think we need to get that fixed for you, and we can ask Norman to
And
come
I-
back out and look us
Yeah.
out.
I would
We wouldn't
ask
want it
that
done
you
to
give
us.
me, because of the survey markers being moved, that I have some degree of approval over what is done within a certain distance of my property now, because they've changed the location of my property somehow, some way. They want to tear down everything right to my fence line. I don't agree with it.
I think we can get Mr. Pollock or Pollock